Welcome everyone to another episode of Fantasy News. I'm one of your hosts today, Richard.
I'm your other host, Austin. We're from the channel 2 to Ramble, taking over for today's fantasy news. And Rich, what is our first fantasy news of the day?
First fantasy news is Stephen King's novella Rat is actually getting a movie adaptation. This is from the producer of The Witch and The Lighthouse and the director Isaac Erzban. Oh God, Isaac Ezerban. God,
Daniel leaves for one episode.
I can't get it. Yeah. This is what you get when you hire out talent. So if people are interested, here is the plot summary of the book. Drew Larson, a writer of an acclaimed short story, has given himself over to academia because every time he tries to turn a good idea into a novel, things go seriously bad. Mentally, physically, or both. But his latest concept, a Western thriller, is gangbusters, and he goes out to an old family cabin in the woods to get the novel done. When storms, insecurities, and sickness hit, Drew strikes a sinister bargain with a rodent.
Ooh.
Yes. Now, a little note from the director here. Stephen King has always been my favorite writer, ever since I started reading horror as a teenager, and since then, I've had a long time dream of adapting some of his material. He embodies the essence of the contrast of beauty and brutality that has shaped my vision and sensibilities as a storyteller. I've read most of his work, and Rat remains one of my favorite stories he's ever created. The perfect match. A dark, intimate, bizarre, even humorous, and deeply unsettling story that gets under your skin. I see this as a survival movie about writer's block and also as the ultimate tale of our craft versus our people, our creations versus our loved ones, our art versus our family. And I feel honored to bring this tale to life.
I love to hear when a director or creator is passionate about the thing they're adapting and creating. I love to see that.
That is the most common problem with a lot of adaptations is you'll get the news of, one of your favorite things is being adapted. And then when you actually watch, you feel like, did they even read the source material? Did they care at all about the source that they're adapting from? Seems like the director, at least in this message, cares.
He pitched the book better than the book blurb did to me. He's going like, man, it changed my life as a storyteller. That's beautiful.
I think that's
ready
good
for
news. So if you are excited for Stephen King adaptation, and especially Rat, this seems like really good news right out of the gate.
And yeah, you read the title and or thumbnail right. Audible is officially being sued by consumers for basically lying about your ability to even purchase audiobooks on the platform because you don't actually own them. You don't irrevocably have access to that audiobook on and off the Audible platform. And so, in my opinion, allegedly, I completely agree with the consumers who say it is misleading to say you are purchasing a book when in reality, you're licensing it at most. And it's extremely misleading to use words like buy, own in the marketing like Audible be doing. Now, this lawsuit has been filed in Washington and is based off a law in California that pretty clearly states what Audible is doing here is illegal. You cannot advertise to customers that they are purchasing something when in actuality, Audible even admits what you're getting is a limited license that is non-transferable and can be revoked. Unlike a physical book you buy, this book will not forever be owned by you. And I'm just going to go ahead and casually mention here, there's tons of software that you can unlock an Audible audiobook and take the thing that they use the language saying you purchase off that enclosed environment and actually own the thing you spent money on that most likely the author didn't even get properly paid from. If you don't understand the context of that, full context, here. It's just crazy to me that it's not even all the issues we've been talking about here. And that's all I can say about that. There's been some conversations I have been a part of where there might actually be some additional action taking place, but these things need a lot of time. And so I'm just going to ask people to be patient, and thank you all for continuing to support my ringing the alarm about everything going on here with Audible. I know it was a spree of videos and a lot of people got tired of it fast. I understand, me too, but it gives me a lot of hope seeing this lawsuit. Strange thing to say. Sorry for the weird backdrop, by the way. I'm in the middle of summarizing Greenbone Saga. And so, yeah, people on Patreon will be getting the individual Greenbone Saga summaries soon, and then the whole series will be put here on YouTube. Patreon plug. I'm thrilled, weird as it is to say, to see Audible finally sued. And I hope it's the first of many for, if you look into it, all the shady stuff they've been doing in the publishing space. Yeah, I can legally say all of that because it was all my opinion and how I feel. Cool. Back to Austin and Rich. Shout out to Tudor Ramble. They're killing it.
All right, our second piece of news today is some Wheel of Time news. There's a Wheel of Time charity event going on in Prague. And what is this event? So it's a first of its kind opportunity to go behind the scenes of a big budget fantasy series, The Wheel of Time, and all the visuals, the costumes, the design that you've seen on the show. Now you'll gain insight into each stage of this design process, including all the sketches, the prototypes, interviews with the design team and the craftspeople that were a part of the show. The exhibition appeals to fans of the show and the books, anybody that's a fashion designer, textile artist, students of fashion and film, and obviously book fans. You'll all love this event. So this is a unique opportunity to see the vast selections of the costumes from the show, which, Rich, I'm sure if you were in Europe during this time, you would want to go see this.
Yeah, no, if I was in Europe at the time, I would probably check it out. The whole event is taking place from November 14th to December 5th, and tickets it's in 350
Czech money.
Whatever
why,
they
why
use
did we?
in Czech.
Why we should have? Daniel prepped
Czech
this stuff.
pounds. It's fine.
No, there's got to be a name for it.
There is, and
Czech pounds.
Czech Republic pounds.
Isbon. It's Isbon pounds.
Sure. Or about $17 US. Go ahead, check it out if you're interested in that kind of in the art and the fashion aspect of the Wheel of Time. This is coming from personal hater of the Wheel of Time TV show. Actually one of the things I did like was the costumes. They were actually really well done. The art direction behind it was pretty good.
We'll have the links in the description below. Well, Daniel will, I assume. Yeah, he's got this. Okay. All right. And then our next piece of news. This one always gets me. I love this. The self-published novels in r/fantasy had a poll, had a ranking as they do every year for what are the best self-published novels. And we have our results.
On screen, you could see a list of this year's winners.
The number one winner was my favorite self-published book of all time, The Sword of Kaigan. Of course, it's got to win. It is one of the best novels ever created. Emma Wang created a masterpiece with The Sword of Kaigan, and that got 32 votes in their poll. The very next winner was Will White's Cradle.
Yep, a series that we've been recommended many times. Hopefully we'll get into soon.
And number 3 was The Dark Prophet Saga, with Orconomics being the first book that had 17 votes along with the second place. So I think this was a tie. Tie between second, third, and fourth was Cradle, The Dark Prophet Saga, and Song of the Damned by Z.B. Steele. And we've got one more special one that's on the list.
Our good buddies over at Talking Story, they released a book this year called Discovery, and it slipped in right there at the number 25 spot, but they made it onto the list.
And it definitely deserves it.
It's a 5-star from us.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, check out every book in the list, but give Discovery a chance
give
as well.
Some extra love to that one. Yeah.
Give some extra love.
Now, what is the next piece of fantasy news, Rich?
Next piece of fantasy news is something weird.
This one, I have thoughts.
You have thoughts? All right. We got a first look at the AI Stan Lee hologram at LA Comic-Con. This is provided to us by Culture Crave over on Twitter. Go ahead, take a look.
What are your thoughts on the MCU and Marvel's legacy today?
I'm thrilled to share my thoughts on the MCU and Marvel's legacy. Dawson, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been a game changer, bringing our beloved characters to life in a way that's resonated with fans worldwide. I think it's a testament to the power of storytelling and the impact that Marvel has had on popular culture. As someone who's been a part of Marvel's history, it's amazing to see how our characters have evolved and continue to inspire new generations. Great question,
If you have
Dawson.
one superpower, what would it be?
If I had to pick one superpower, I'd choose the ability to fly, Rayhan. It's a classic power that's both practical and thrilling. Just imagine soaring through the skies, exploring new heights, and saving the day in style.
Now, Rich, when you see that, did you get the heebie-jeebies like I did?
I feel icky.
Did you get the heebie-jeebies?
I feel icky. I don't like it. No. No, none of that.
Oh, wait, I don't know if, okay.
None of that.
I don't know how much on this news stage should we give opinions here. I will say that was a little weird for me. Like taking the likeness of a person and then making them say things that you think they would say because you AI programmed Stan Lee to say that stuff. Like, is that legal? Is that...
You know what I
have
noticed?
questions.
Here's the thing I noticed in it. The AI hologram is not claiming to be Stan Lee in the answers.
Oh.
When it answers, it says like, Stan Lee would say. He mentioned Stan Lee, so it's not claiming to be Stan Lee.
Oh, they checked their loss. They made sure they can get away with it. Okay.
I noticed.
Okay.
It's not claiming to be Stan Lee. It's an AI with Stan Lee's voice that looks like Stan Lee saying things that Stan Lee maybe would have said.
Hey, we're on Daniel Green's channel. I could say Daniel would say Wheel of Time's the worst series ever. Obviously.
Yeah.
Like, how much liberty can you take there? What do you all think? Let us know. I'm very curious. That's
I feel gross.
interesting.
I'm not a fan, but it's news.
Sorry, we gave the news and we also just said what we think. Well, next thing. Okay, let's turn off our thinking brains and just go to this next one. It's simpler news.
Next is easy. Easy little news. Little bit for the Lord of the Rings fans and also Magic the Gathering fans. In 2023, Magic the Gathering released a booster set for the Lord of the Rings made by Wizards of the Coast. It was originally called Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth. In August of 2026, they've announced that they will be releasing a addition to this project of The Hobbit. So we're going to get the Hobbit stickers. There's some cool pictures if you want to look on the screen. Looks pretty cool to me. In addition, next year they should also be doing Star Trek and Marvel superheroes as well.
Very cool. Very cool for any Magic the Gathering fans. And you know who is a Magic the Gathering fan? I know Sanderson. He's into it a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, which brings us to our next news.
At FanX, this is a convention in Utah that goes on from September 25th to the 27th. And at last year's convention, Sanderson announced that his corporation, Dragonsteel Entertainment, bought the land next to what used to be Evermore Park in Pleasant Grove, Utah, with the intent to eventually make a bookstore. How cool would that be, Rich? Yeah. The area, he said, would be called Dragonsteel Plaza. Now, he got asked the question.
Have you considered buying the Evermore Park? Evermore Park was previously a fantasy and medieval themed park located in Pleasant Grove. It closed in April 2024 and was purchased by St. George couple, but in January it was revealed that there were issues with the sale. Sanderson said he's actually very much considering it. I quote, "I get asked this a lot," Sanderson said at this year's current panel. "I've thought about it seriously. I really have. It's expensive. I worry about if we jump into something too soon. It's very easy for companies like mine that are doing very well to spend all their cash and then stop doing very well." Very cool. I kind of hope he buys it, but then again, I understand of like doesn't want to expand too far, but medieval themed fantasy park is a really cool thing, and I can think of no one better to keep it alive than Sanderson.
Fantasy Disneyland. How cool would that be?
Fantasy Disneyland. I want it. Little Cosmere Disneyland.
Yes.
Cool.
And now we've got some cover reveals. The first one we have is the Sapphire Heart by 3 Scribes. Look how cool this cover is. Congratulations to the cover, the book by the 3 Scribes. That is so cool.
I am loving the mountain-looking dragon. The dragon that looks like it came from a mountain.
Anthropomorphizing nature is always lovely. And the next cover we have is Mercy, Ill is the Fate by Chance Dillon. Chance Dillon is a booktuber out there. Congrats, Chance, on the wonderful cover and the book, Mercy, Ill is the Fate. And then the last one, Rich.
Last one we got from The Broken Binding. It's
yeah.
Blackfire Blade by James Logan. Take a look at that. I gotta say, I'm a big fan of purple as a main cover in books. I want more of them. Just look sick.
It's creeping up my favorite colors list.
I've also seen Broken Binding doing a lot of them. A lot of these different publishers have kind of like their staple colors, at least in my imagination or my pattern recognition. Because I always associate Orbit books with white. They make a lot of like
behind you. Look how many there are.
Books. Yeah, I know. It's just anyway. That's just a small aside, but it's fine. Some great covers, awesome books coming. There's another one that I think just looks sick. Sick cover. The book is called The First Mage on the Moon. This is by Cameron Johnson. Really cool looking cover. Got that architect-ish diagram feel. I think it's really interesting.
Very cool. Very cool.
It's basically, space race, but magic.
Sweet. And now our next piece of news, we're taking a little bit of outside books for a second and talking the fantasy, the sci-fi space. It's more fantasy. Stranger Things. Stranger Things. The Duffer Brothers, who are the creators of Stranger Things, they were interviewed in their first sit-down interview since their Paramount deal that they had, which this Paramount deal, so in August, the Duffers announced that their company Upside Down Pictures is leaving Netflix and they're going to an exclusive 4-year deal with Paramount for movies, television, and streaming products. And as the Duffers explained to Variety's Michael Schneider, the decision was to release more feature films. And so you have a little bit of buzz online because of this, because in the sit-down interview, the Duffer brothers, they said some things about their thoughts on the length of TV shows, and they opined on, hey, this is what I think should be the case. How long you should wait for a TV show, how long should the episodes be? In their opinion, I'll summarize, is they like longer television episodes, and one of the Duffer brothers said that they don't mind it waiting longer, and not releasing every year, but waiting longer than over a year because it builds up anticipation. It doesn't just, I'll quote him himself and say this here. That's the weird thing, that we ended up in TV because we had almost zero interest in television. And then Matt Duffer goes on to say, if TV shows come out every year, it's diminishing return. I like the buildup. Now they're going to Paramount and they're leaving Netflix behind after Stranger Things is done here. What do you think about their opinion on TV shows? They like a little bit more anticipation, more buildup, and longer episodes. They're more they kind of stumbled into TV. They like the more feature length stuff.
I couldn't disagree with them more. I think the biggest problem with television is the fact that we keep making just long movies. Like, no, television is itself a medium, and if people just wanted to do long movies, we could just do long cut-up movies, but it's a different medium. So it makes sense that they just want to do movies and that they were basically made a 8-hour movie on Netflix instead. So I couldn't disagree more, but hey, they made Stranger Things, so
I think they can get away with it.
They can get away with
it. Like season 4 was insane.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It was great, but also by the numbers, television does benefit from having, more, like, you can lose interest. Over a year of waiting, 2 years, Stranger Things season 2 did not do as well as season 1. Same thing with season 3. The numbers do go down.
Is that true?
I believe so. I think season 4 did pick up.
We should fact check that, though.
Probably
here's the numbers.
This isn't true. Stranger Things Season 4 became the second most viewed Netflix program of all time within the first 28 days, and it looks like each subsequent season increased in viewership from just a quick look on the internet. But we'll let the bald man keep talking.
But no, this is not just, it's not just specifically Stranger Things, but this is across the board. Sequels very often. So everyone asks, like, hey, why can't Netflix count to 3? They always do like 1 season, 2 seasons, and then they just cut it. It's because by the numbers, season 2s don't really do that well on Netflix. Like once in a blue moon it does, but very often it doesn't, even on critically acclaimed shows.
Is that the same in the book world where a book 3 won't do as good as book 1 just by you're getting fall off? Not everybody's going to be picking up the last book of a series if you don't get through the first.
It depends, but you compare this to the older way of doing television where by the time, if you have a 25 episode season, like you're already going through most of the year and then maybe a few months before the start of the next season goes.
Yeah.
You're already into the cycle and you don't have time to lose interest. That's just a personal opinion on just how those numbers work. So, hey, I'm happy they're making movies. Seems far more fitting for them anyway.
I do at least like how they're releasing them of not just all at once. I like that they're separate release days so that you can release episodes, but whatever it is, the first couple episodes, everyone can talk about it, get excited, and then the next release and the next. I don't like when all of them are there because I have no impulse control. I'll just watch it all. Yeah. And then I'll feel like I'm left behind if they're all are out, so I'm going to get spoiled a thing. Now I have to spend all today watching this. So I at least like that. The TV nature of
it ruins
separating
the water cooler discussion.
Yes, it does. It does.
I still remember the favorite water cooler discussion was watching Lost. I remember watching Lost live. I didn't have a recorder for it, so like you had to watch it. Discussion every week. It was fantastic.
It's awesome. All right, what's our next piece of news?
Next piece of news is an acquisition announcement from Orbit Books. Orbit is actually announcing the acquisition of 2 standalone fantasy books from Gareth Han Ra Han. I'm going to try that again. Orbit is here to announce the acquisition of 2 standalone fantasy books from Gareth Han Ra Han. Orbit is here to announce the. I'm going to try it again. You're going to let me get it right. You're going to edit this in. Goddamn bastard. All right. You done laughing? All right. Orbit is announcing an acquisition of 2 new standalone fantasy books from Gareth Rahan, and author of The Gutter Prayer and Sword Defiant. Coming first in August 2026 will be the Dungeon book, as told by Cornelius the Skull, a brilliant, witty, gleefully fun, and yet heartfelt tale in which a small child is thrown to a dungeon full of monsters who decide to raise her rather than eat her. Epic fantasy fans will love this from captivating mashup of Dungeons and Dragons and The Jungle Book, featuring a labyrinth dungeon packed with monsters galore, nefarious sorcerer, a merciless dragon, and plenty of dungeon crawling mayhem. This is all from Orbis Publishing.
Congrats, Orbit, and to the author.
Yeah.
The author whose name is... And our next piece of news is from the TV show The Witcher. Season 3 going into Season 4, Henry Cavill left the show, left the void, and now Liam Hemsworth is taking his place. And there was a first sit-down interview with Liam Hemsworth done by Entertainment Weekly, where they were asking him a question about how it's going, how is he doing with the cast, all sorts of things. And of course, Liam he's saying it's kind of like jumping into school in the middle of a year where everybody knows each other. He's filling big shoes. A lot of people loved Henry Cavill. I do. A lot of the fans weren't in love with Liam taking this role, because how do you replace somebody that's so beloved and that you've been watching for 3 seasons and now they're just gone? So Liam, in part of this interview, he said, I'll quote, "There's quite a bit of noise and I had to put that aside. It started to become a distraction," Liam says. "I dealt with that sort of thing in the past a lot. And at the end of the day, I love making movies and I love telling stories and acting. I just don't want any of that to affect my way of telling the story I'm trying to tell. I jumped off social media and the internet for most of last year." Which... from the Ramblers, Austin and Rich here, we highly recommend getting off social media, YouTube, unsubscribing. All right, not that. But
leave it subscribed.
All right.
Pop in every once in a while, watch our stuff and Daniel's sometimes. And then, turn it off.
Do you always need to be in tune with the news? Do you always need to know what's happening every week?
No.
Wait, Daniel, tell us if we need to cut that.
All right. And in a last-minute fantasy news update, we also had Christopher Paolini going ahead and posting an update to the website formerly known as Twitter, saying he just named another dragon rider. And with him working on another book set in the Inheritance world, we now know that means there's going to be another dragon hatch bonding situation happening for a series that helps so many millennials get into fantasy. How fun.
And that's this week in fantasy news. We'll see you sometime, maybe.
Maybe we will. Hey, thanks, Daniel.
Also, check out our channel, To Ramble. A little bit linked down below. We do in-depth discussions on books and topics as well.
This is the most we've had to factually look for information ever when doing an episode or doing anything. And we know we did not do as good of a job as Daniel does, but we tried.
Yeah.
We did our best. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.